Sweet. Good afternoon. I'm Jennifer Bagley, CEO of CI Web Group and host of the podcast, The Catalyst for the Trades. I am so excited today because I get to be with the beautiful, the one and only Miss Danielle Putnam from the New Flat Rate. We've worked together for many, many, many years, and she's done an amazing job in the industry, literally reshaping the industry from so many different angles. If you guys haven't heard her speak before or seen her on stage, I will tell you that, Miss Danielle, when I first saw you speak, you changed my heart. I got a little bit of teary because you speak 100% from the heart. And then when we came out from the event, Mike and I drove through the parking lot, and I see you with child, two and tote. I'm sure there were 12. And I was like, that's my girl. I love her.
Oh, thanks so much. That is so kind. Well, I remember at the end of something, I was so nervous and I was like, but I don't know my slides. And you were like, you don't need those stinking slides. But I felt like I needed my security net. And so I've appreciated you and your support. Thank you.
Oh, no, you speak from the heart, girl. You got it going on. You got it going on. You care immensely, and it shows in everything that you do.
Thank you so much.
So let's talk new flat rate, industry trends, technology evolution. What do you see in the industry right now?
Last week, I was on a call with a group of contractors, and two of them, there was only like three, right? So 2 out of 3 instantly said, man, I feel good about this year. I know we're not supposed to go on feelings. It's not supposed to be feelings, but in my gut, I feel good about this year. And the other one said, me too. I'm having a good year already, and it's going to be a good year the whole way through. But Jennifer, that sparked something for me because we can say, you know, all these things that are going on in the economy, but when people actually choose to believe the positive, it sparks a chain reaction. And I was like, me too. I want a good year too. It's so much choice, right? So much choice that's what I think about the future right now is, yeah, there's some uncertainty and there's some tariff this and tariff that. And, you know, everybody's not sure what to do and we're holding on to some of our money. We found that homeowners are spending a little bit differently. They're planning instead of 10 years, they're planning 12 years. They're thinking, let me do some buffer work right now so that I can make a bigger decision a little way down the road right now. Because, yeah, there is some uncertainty, but they're not spending. You can go to the grocery store and see that people are still spending. People are still doing things. We're still at the ball field every night. We're still at the track field every night. People are paying for their kids to be in sports. So, you know, we're just doing a little things a little bit different. But I believe that the future is very bright. I really do. I'm very excited about what's going on right now in our industry. I know we've got a lot of new technologies. And at first, I'm sure I'm not the only one that was like, wait a minute, is that going to take away our jobs? But now when we harness so much of the new, it's like it makes my job easier. It makes my job better.
Yes, I would agree with that. You're talking about the 2-letter word.
I don't know anything about it.
Yes, it's been obviously that's a huge topic of conversation. That's all I'm doing is traveling and training and teaching companies and distributor groups and manufacturer groups how to leverage AI to accelerate time. I mean, truncate time. Imagine waking up tomorrow and you can be a 50 to 1er or 100 to 1er. You can get 100 times more done in the same period of time, right? It's incredible.
Yeah. And that's what happened when we all got cell phones and then smartphones is all of a sudden we could be in touch with more people at one time. And there's a piece of me that sometimes hates it, right? It's awfully fun to unplug and go into the woods for a minute and just be in nature in silence. It's peaceful. You don't have to feel like you're constantly, go. But it did propel us forward. And that's what AI is doing too, is it's another propelling forward.
Yeah, 100%. It's interesting watching the search trends of the amount of homework that consumers are doing now because they've got AI. They can ask like 80% of their questions to right out of the gate before they wind up doing their search and finding a solution. What have you guys noticed? Has the conversation changed Are we coaching the technicians and comfort advisors differently? What have you guys noticed?
That's a good question. I have not noticed a whole lot of that. And since you say it, I know that it's happening, but we aren't hearing that and seeing that and coaching that so much. So, yeah,
It's interesting.
I don't know. Well, and I don't mind saying right now, here we are live. I'm like, I don't know actually, but I'm going to go find out now.
Yeah, I mean, well, so we record thousands and thousands of calls, hundreds of thousands of calls, and it's very interesting listening to the change in tone, where the consumer sounds so much more educated on round one, on the first at bat, just at the first phone call. They've already done their research. They've gotten familiarity with different systems, with
You have
pricing,
this
with
data.
everything.
Yes.
It's really interesting. I'm like, wow, these guys. I remember getting my first HVAC quote, and I thought we did marketing for HVAC, so I thought I knew a lot about HVAC. And then when I got that good, better, best, and it said 2-stage, variable stage, I was like, I don't know jack about.
Yeah.
But now they have the ability to grab any quote, and they can take that screenshot, load it into GPT, and ask it to analyze 5 quotes against each other and provide all the summary data back, or they can do the homework in advance. It's just much more. What do you do? What do you change? How do you alter your strategy when the consumer has all of the information they need at the tip of their finger before you even got the call?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It is, and it goes back to now we do have to get in front of it and be prepared, and we also have to have those sustainable relationships. I'm stuck on the word just, and I've got even a handout here. I can't wait to show on the screen.
I'm excited
I know.
about that.
So I want to show it to you, and I want to tie this into how the consumers are changing with doing all their research and stuff. So let's tie back to that and see if we can uncover some of it. But I've been thinking a lot about the word just because when we go out there and they're all prepared and they're, doing their research and they're like, hey, it's just a capacitor. And so they expect the technician to come out and just do a capacitor. The technician is there to serve because our industry is so servant-hearted. That's what we do. And that's why we love our people, right? Is that they want to help. And so they're just doing the capacitor and they know that it's $296. The homeowner probably knows that it's $296. So, okay, cool. But here's what I know about our industry. It's just a capacitor, but I can do a little bit more and just check the performance a little bit more, or just add, something else for safety. And the technicians just kind of throwing in a freebie because they're already there. It's not that big of a deal. But if they're throwing in a freebie and they're not charging for it, or they're not showing a menu, they're losing money. So here we're going into summer and we have servant-hearted people on our team and they're just doing a little bit of extra here, just doing a little bit of extra there. All of the justs, J-U-S-T, all of the just, apostrophe S, are adding up and we're not getting the money for that. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I'm concerned is when the more I'm thinking about, I'm like, but it's just. So here we have a cheeseburger and we just add cheese. It's not that big of a deal. I already have the cheese. I'm just going to throw it on the burger and not change it. I'm just going to charge that $296 because, hey, it's just the cheese. Mm-hmm. But to the homeowner, it's not just the cheese. It's what they wanted. And when they get to choose what they want, they're happy to pay for what they want. And so that's what's going on too. Like I said, what we're seeing that people are, doing more repairs to extend a little bit longer because it's what they want. So they're choosing what they want and they're willing to pay for what they want. They're paying for their kids' sports. They're paying for their nails still. They're still paying for their stuff, right? So the word just as we're going in, I'm thinking more and more that our industry is giving away so much of their hard-earned revenue and profit because it's just one more thing. Why would I charge for it? So that's the power of the menu, and tying that into what you're seeing is the homeowners coming to bat and they already know, hey, it's going to take you half an hour. It's $296. I'm going with you because I trust you as a reputable company. I've used you before. You treated me right. You have nice customer service reps, or I see your vans in my neighborhood. My neighbor just used you. And so they've got their personal reasons and their relationships for using you. But that research that they're coming to the table with, what are we giving away? Because they're already prepared to spend some money. They're already prepared to spend $296, and they called you with the intent to buy. They call because they want to buy from you.
Right.
And especially when they invite you to their home. So they want they want to buy from you. So let's not just throw in everything on that call because we're here to maximize the opportunities in the home so that our businesses can grow from a position of strength.
Yeah, I 100% agree. That depleting of the pockets from not understanding the value and applying it appropriately hurts in
Yeah,
a lot of ways.
it does.
Yeah.
I was talking to a contractor today here at the office, just outside in the parking lot. And we're standing out there, and he says, the reason for profit in your business, right? I was like, oh, I don't know. I mean, I guess we all like profit, and we like to tout about how profitable we are or not tout about it when we're not profitable. And he says, well, there's a reason for the profit. I was like, well, what? Like, I wanted to hear. Because Jennifer, sometimes I struggle with when you're talking about profit for the business, sometimes I struggle with how do you convey that to the team? Why do the technicians care about the owner's profit? Why would anybody be excited about that? He says, well, the two purposes for profit are to protect the team, to give them that security. Otherwise, they'd go out and be their own entrepreneur. But they want the security knowing that they're going to get their paycheck. So you've got to have profit so that you can have the money in the bank and the money in advance in the bank so that you're not going to miss a payroll. You got to have that profit. And then the other reason is the owner, the CEO, their motivation. They've got to be motivated. They got to be motivated by that profit. If they're not motivated by that, then why grow? Why do more? And so I love that when we're thinking about, hey, we've got to look at the future. We've got to price profitably. We've got to make sure that we're maximizing opportunities in the home this summer. But we actually have a purpose for the profit. And the team and their security is a purpose for it. And then also the future and the motivation for the ownership. I just never heard it laid out like that before.
Yeah, I would agree with that. A lot of the companies that I get the opportunity to spend time coaching with, I'm typically trying to figure out their why, which usually boils down to the same things for most entrepreneurs, right? As an owner, you quit your day job and you took on all this liability and risk because you wanted more time, money, and freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually try and take it a step further and say, well, what, do you want to exit?
Yeah.
And if you don't, would you mind playing the game as if you were? So if you had the due diligence list as an entrepreneur on day one, if any of us, I wish I would have got coached like this.
Yes. Yes.
All the lessons we could have avoided, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you had that due diligence list in the beginning of your business from day one, and you treated it like a hit list that you went down to make sure that you were invoking each one of those items and ensuring that you were set and prepped with the intent to sell, even if you don't plan on it, would your business be stronger? Would you have, would it be easier to recruit? Would it be easier to have better pay? Would it be easier to offer benefits faster if you were priced appropriately, if you were taking things to the market appropriately, if you weren't acting like a one-person shop from day one for so long?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those lessons are tough. Those lessons are tough. I look at so many of the companies that are sitting in that $1 to $2 million bucket, and they're excited because they're a referral only based company, which most companies that are 1 to 2 million or less are only referrals. They haven't figured out how to generate more than that. And you're on the money as far as their rates. It's more about, well, I want to give a fair price. What's fair?
Yeah.
Right? What is the definition of fair?
Yes.
And to whom? To yourself, to your team, to your employees, to your new hires, to the customer. Somewhere there's an equitable arrangement that's good for everybody. That's the sweet spot.
Yeah. Matt Michelle, the former founder and former CEO of Service Nation, he's got a book on pricing, and he's got a story in there about the price of water. And I love the story because we're talking about, it's just such a great way to go back to the word fair, is that you could pay $1 for this Dasani water bottle, somewhere, but on a hot day, you don't bat an eye to paying $5. If it's the only, it's the only bottle of water around, you're going to pay $5. And if we're all dying on a desert island and it's the only bottle of water for $100. We don't care, right? We want it.
Right.
And so fair, it's in the eye of the beholder. Like, what are we? So I love that part of the industry. I love that they want to feel like they're being fair. But at the same time, we keep chopping our own legs out from underneath us by recognizing that the customer never said that. It's like self-imposed. It's
Mhm.
self-imposed injuries. We keep hurting ourselves because it's in the eye of the beholder what's valuable to them, which I can't not say that's the power of a menu, because all of a sudden you can have a fair price that, all right, this is kind of the market going rate in my area. $296 for a capacitor. Okay, cool. That's what others are charging in my area. And you do your secret shopping and you know that. But the minute that we offer a menu with more choices, all of a sudden the customer can buy more. And then you see that 80% of the time they're buying right here in the middle and spending $593. And but that's not fair. Of course it is. They chose it. That's what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They could have taken your fair price. So if you want to be fair, then get a comparable price just to do the basics. But I think that we're chopping our legs out from underneath us all the time.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I've got a few guys that have came out of training, and I'm always trying to get them to change 2 or 3 things that, they're doing before they come to the next training. I'm like, you got to implement it now. And I've seen companies that are using your system, and they're offering pricing, they're offering options, and they're showcasing the benefits to those add-ons using a third party AI to validate that those were good recommendations in front of the customer, and watching that so that it's not them selling, because some of them are still uncomfortable with, they're thinking about it however they would buy, right? And if they want to use the lowest option, that's one version and that's where their comfort level sits. But when they offer these 4 different options or 3 different options and they make the recommendation for the highest one, and I've seen them now start to pull at ChatGPT and ask, what are the benefits of this higher efficiency option with all these bells and whistles? And they can start feeding it a few pieces of information that were queries during the conversation with the customer about their allergies, or about the fact they're having a baby, or about the fact that they have pets in the house, or their grandmother lives there, or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden ChatGPT is now validating why that option is a good choice for them. It's really, really interesting watching them be able to take the tool and then level up one more time with third-party endorsement.
I love it. And I think that they're using it very smart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the homeowners believe it. Like that's the backing that they need.
That was it. They thought it was a fancy presentation or PowerPoint or something like that. It wasn't. It was just something as simple as leveraging AI. What are the benefits? Here are the 3 options that we're looking at. What are the benefits of each one of them? And which one would you recommend? Knowing X, Y, Z, the 3 pieces of information you got from the customer. And quickly it comes back and says, this is the high efficiency one would be the best for all of these reasons. It's very interesting.
Well, it is. And I love how we haven't taken out the importance of listening to the needs of the home, to listening to what the customer's pointing out. These are their needs. You still got your intake form, and then you're prescribing the solution, backing it up with third party credibility. But it did start with still listening. So we're not changing that. We're still listening.
Yes.
And putting in so that we can provide, the reason I say that is so that we can provide the right solution for that homeowner. We are still serving them. We're still doing justice by taking care of them, by listening and giving them what they need.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So you'll like this one. We have a client in California who's in a very, very diverse market, and they were struggling with not having Spanish speaking staff on their team. So we had launched a new website for them with localization, which means essentially it presents your website in the native language of whatever the user who's visiting settings are on their computer. So, which is great. We didn't have that available before it was some Google
Mhm.
Translator or whatever. So, but they were struggling not being able to take the calls. So we implemented an AI chatbot that could answer in all languages. That solved that. And the
Mhm.
last piece was, what do we do when we get there? So we had them buy Meta glasses. And on the Meta glasses, you can ask it to turn on translation. And the whole conversation, it's translating to you whatever they're saying in Spanish, in English, right out of the
Neat.
gate. Which,
Neat.
so I thought it was really slick, but then he came back and I was like, well, what do you do when you're trying to communicate back? And he was like, oh, I bought two. I give them a set of glasses. I wear mine, and then we can communicate just like anybody else could. And I was like, I am loving where things are going right now.
Wow. And that's so much better than holding the phone, asking for a translation of what they just said, and then figuring out how to say back and then ask for the translation back. We're taking out the middleman steps. And then by putting those glasses on, all of a sudden it's like
There's
human connection is still there
yeah,
because we're talking.
freaking awesome. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm
Yes.
loving watching how all the technology is advancing. Oh,
Yes. Well, and the different use cases and how they're organically coming about. Like people are using them to solve a problem that they have in their business.
yeah. It's yeah, it's night and day difference watching those who are open and inquisitive and
Mhm.
curious
Mhm.
about how technology is changing and how to use it versus
Mhm.
those that are fearful or, I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
not iRobot going to come down and shoot us all. I don't want to touch it.
Isn't that the name of that movie? Is it iRobot, that cute little kids movie?
Oh, I can't remember. There is a cute little kid movie, and then there's a Will Smith like where they do actually take over the
Yeah, but there's a new one. I think it's called iRobot. It's just funny
robot.
because
Yeah.
my 7-year-old daughter's watching it at school today, so that's why it's so funny that you said that. But I think I think it's I Will Robot or Wild Robot. I think it's iRobot. Anyway, she's watching it at school today, and this robot comes down and is in nature, and so it's observing nature and becoming friends with all the animals and all of that. I don't remember the point of even saying that, except for that we're watching organically how people are adopting and changing. But in our industry, and not just our industry, I mean, it's just humans. I think there was a lot of like, wait a minute, I don't know about that. I've seen movies about the future. I don't know if this is the right thing or not. And
Mhm.
or it's just so much of that skepticism of, I don't know if I can learn that, or I don't understand that. And
Mhm.
so our human adoption rate, we've definitely had some that went way faster than others. But right now, it seems like there's so many dabbling in it, getting a little bit more comfortable. And then you got those that are pushing the line and getting these organic use cases. And so can you imagine? Because I remember we talked like 2-3 years ago in Atlanta, a couple years when everybody was just learning about ChatGPT. And now here we are. Imagine where we're going to be next year. That um, I mean, I love that you're like, hey, what do you think of the future? I don't know. I just know that we have to become best friends with it,
Yeah,
right?
I say please and thank you right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We just have to become best friends with it. And the more that we do, then the better. And still you can still see and still keep that human aspect of it. I love saying, did you use your brain on that at all? Because we can still kind of tell a little bit, but we're
Yep.
getting there.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. So speaking of tariffs, price adjustments, what is your guys' stance? What's your recommendation right now? Are you having people go in and modify price books
Mhm.
right now in
Yep.
advance?
Yep.
Uh,
We sure
are
are.
the, is it standard rates across the board? What
Yeah,
percent do you think have made the adjustments already?
glad that you asked that. And so because of the uncertainty, who knows what exactly is going to happen and when, but we do know that prices are going up, and everybody knows that. So yes, let's just get in front of it and let's start gradually increasing our prices. So if you're good with a 1%, if you're good with a 5%, whatever you feel that you can do, a lot of it is the mindset. People are scared to do too big of a jump. So then let's start big because, my techs will freak out about these prices. Well, then let's do 5% right now. And let's start creeping forward a little bit and get everybody a little bit more comfortable with the new normal that is coming. So yes, please do go ahead and start thinking about updating your prices.
Yeah, that I mean, in so many industries, pricing is not static. Like it's not, I understand the menu option and menu meaning options, but
Mhm.
I don't think anybody should get too comfortable with pricing because there's
Mhm.
too many variables, right?
Mhm.
If you
Yes.
own a stadium and your seats are empty, you've only sold 25% of your seats, you should have flexible pricing to be able to
Mhm.
put butts in the rest of the seats because your
Mhm.
costs don't change,
Yep.
right? So if
I
you own a
agree.
business and you've got resources, you have a team, uh,
Mhm.
you know, if you're at max capacity and you're booked out for the next 4 weeks, raise your prices,
Mhm.
right? If
Yes. Yes.
there's that's I feel like that should be part of onboarding is that
Mhm.
we have I mean, and you can use AI to help you figure it out, right? You can
Mhm.
throw your price book into AI. You can start asking questions. What if
Mhm.
what if I have maximum or I'm fully booked out for the next 4 weeks? What is your
Mhm.
recommendation for modifying prices? What if I'm only booked out 2 weeks? What should my pricing margins be? What if
Mhm.
I'm booked out for 8 weeks? What if I'm not booked at all?
Mhm.
That's
I agree. I agree because we want our team to be able to be at the highest and best use of their time. We want them to be able to still be craftsmen and to do a great job in the home. And when we're rushing, oh, we're booked out 4 weeks. Now all of a sudden we're rushing. We're not getting paid what our worth. No, we need to increase our prices during that time and allow the technician to slow down, do a great job, provide a great value, and be profitable every single day. That this is the dollar that we need every day per truck, and we're going to focus on that. And then all the 4 weeks in advance, that's awesome. That's
yeah,
awesome. Let's
yeah,
love that, right? But let's also capitalize on today. We're not promised tomorrow. Let's work on today, maximizing today. And I posted this story on LinkedIn a couple weeks ago, but there was a technician in my house for our oven, and it was 7 o'clock at night on a Monday night. I hadn't used my oven in 3 weeks. It'd been broken for 3 weeks. Like, dude, you don't need to be here at 7 o'clock right now. But I asked him, how many calls have you been on today? He's like, well, you're the farthest from the shop for me. I've got the longest way home after this, and I've been on 8. You're my 8th call today. But we're,
mhm,
we're, we're killing our teams. We're
yeah.
burning them out. So if that company would have said, hey, Danielle, it's going to be, we have an emergency after hour price and it's going to be X amount of money more, or would you like to wait for tomorrow? Uh, it's my choice. I can choose to pay more, and
Yep.
then please pay that technician more for that, or I can pay less and do it tomorrow. So yes, we need to be increasing our prices, especially when our demand is like that. And then if we don't have any calls on the calendar, I'm not opposed to some loss leaders. We might need a couple, the feelers, getting them out there, getting in the, you could do that a little bit, but instead let's work with Jennifer and her team to make sure that we don't have those slow days.
Yeah, that's marketing is definitely evolving
Mm-hmm.
a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot.
Same with
Um,
weekends. There's a lot of companies that no longer do weekend. They don't do after hours, nights, or weekends. And I respect that because they're valuing their team. They're valuing the family unit. They're valuing people.
yeah, yeah, I agree with that. What's your thoughts on pricing online? What's your thoughts about transparency and putting it up front?
I think it's great for your new customers. And that's why you got to do it, because your new customers want to know, hey, I haven't done business with you yet. Can I afford your services? Can I afford to do business with you? They have to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can afford to do business with them. Now, the extra value and things, they're going to learn that when they begin to do business with you. Wow, they always go above and beyond. They show me prices. They let me choose. I can buy more if I want. So on your website, yeah, you can put your very comparable price on there. But then all
Mm-hmm.
of a sudden, the customer can choose that, or they can buy more when you get into the home and you talk to them and show them the true value and give them options and they can buy. Your existing customers, they could go there and look at it too. But if there's already a relationship and they already trust you and they're going to go by your recommendation and they're going to look at the options when you get there, then it might be, more of a moot point. They might not be hanging out on your website so much.
Yeah,
But
they
for your
Agreed. They don't
They don't
usually
need to.
even go back. And if they go back, it's just because you've got a quick booking link or a text option on there. They're not
It's
digging
just that
around and
convenience.
reading all the content on your pages.
So I think it's great. I think that the transparency piece is just so that they know, oh, good, I can afford to do business with you. That's the price range I had in my mind. That was the budget that I had set. And you're not here to gouge me. So it's maybe a first indication of some trust building and gives them a little bit of information. And then you get in the door. And to your point, they don't go back.
Yeah, I would agree with that, especially in an AI search. It's it's a very different conversation, right? It's not you're not typing with your thumbs AC repair in blank. You've got a headset on
Yes.
or your sunglasses
Yes.
on or your watch or your phone, and you're saying, hey, find me an air conditioning company that specializes in XYZ, has this kind of certification, has a maintenance plan, has financing I can book online, and I'd really like to know what their entry price is for an X. And if the information is available, then
Yeah.
you show. If the information is not available, you're not an option. And it's not like in a traditional search, there's 15 options on page one. In AI search, usually there's going to be 2 or 3 options that come back depending on the complexity of the query because they're just trying to serve up exactly what you're looking for. So what's the plan
Good point.
for New Flat Rate? Does New Flat Rate integrate with websites? Do you have plans to allow them to do full integrations? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, that's a good question. It actually doesn't integrate with websites today. Good question. But we're actually launching a new version of our product in Q3 this year, and so this is going to be a dynamic price book, fully driven by AI, and I'm very excited about it. And so we've got 14 years of running the new flat rate, and then contracting businesses before that. So we have so many years of experience and knowledge, and we've got a great product. I mean, the new flat rate is fantastic, and so I had the conversation earlier today with a team that's like, why are you trying to hang out over here when you already have something great that's serving the world fine? Yes, it is serving the world fine today, but the future is changing and we all want to be a part of it. And we know that and we see it coming. And so we've been prototyping and testing a lot more of the interaction of right there. Hey, here I am at the faucet. This is what I see. This is what I need. And then using the dynamic and just a lot of different components that we don't currently have today. And so could that plug into a website? Yes. And but that's so Q3 is close. It's very close. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's actually really close. But we're in Q2, so I can say it's not today. But it's coming very soon, very fast. And I'm really excited about it. So, but like I said, and I was kind of long story short, it's that dividing thing of you know what? We're going to keep being awesome right here and serving who we serve and also explore into the new territory. And we're going to do both. And, some people say, hey, don't do both. Stick with the ship that got you there. Well, the landscape of the future has changed. And, I know that we can provide more and do more and we can be a part of more. What I really want, Jennifer, is think of it as a widget. So like the little icon on your phone, it's like a little sprocket, right? I really want a new flat rate sprocket that can interact with any website, any FSM, and be a part of what everybody wants everybody to be in their world. So that's the direction that we're going, is to be able to play better with everybody.
I love that. I love
Yay.
that. I feel like that's for every company that's figuring out how to integrate AI into whatever they're doing. It's the tagline is we can do more faster,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is exciting. So if I can spend more quality time with my team, with my clients, building personal relationships, doing the things technology can't do because I'm freed up from the cumbersome, taxing, mundane, or routine activities that technically AI can do significantly faster, that's a win.
It
Gosh,
is.
like 2000 and this had to be like 2008. I can see this ugly ass slide that I made. I used to do a presentation called The Fusion of Old School Principles and New Age Technology. And that was in the early 2000s.
Wow.
And it was this, oh gosh, that's so funny. If I go backwards, how time just is a big old circle. But that's what it was about back then. was
Yeah.
how to fuse these old school principles and traditions with new age technology
Mm-hmm.
to make a sweeter process.
Yes. And we're thinking about the user, right? The techs in the
Mhm.
field, they're just tired of working with so many different devices and different things. And how can we all work better together? And
Mhm.
that's why the change for us is because we've got a great program, great product, but it doesn't always play best friends with everybody. And so
Mhm.
let's figure out how to all be on the same team and then
I
make
love
some great
that.
plans for everybody.
I love that. Kudos to you guys. I think that was one of the first things I realized that was an aha moment coming into the home services industry. I
Mm-hmm.
came out of the retail space. I implemented the largest ERP systems in the world in multiple Fortune 500 companies. And when I got into this space and started looking at either no open API or
Mm-hmm.
limited APIs,
Yes.
limited connectivity, closed loop systems, no one
Yes.
wanted to talk, no technology talking. And then I felt horrible when I started interviewing the contractors. I'm like, tell me about your technology subscriptions. Well, they're getting to number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9. And I'm like, hold on. Why do you have so much
Yes.
technology and nothing is communicating?
Mm-hmm.
So big kudos to you. I hope that every technology provider in this industry hears what you guys are doing and starts thinking about interoperable systems
Mm-hmm.
and thinking about the end customer, which is in this case is the contractor. And they should have technology platforms that are designed to communicate with each other. Period, exclamation
Well,
point.
and we should. And so it was years ago, so many years ago. I remember being at shows saying, "Hey, you guys have an API? Can we connect and work together?" And so many of these other companies are like, "Well, not yet. We're starting one. We're going to build one." And then every year, "Hey, you got that API ready? You ready to plug together?" No, 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 no. And then all of a sudden, people kind of built their own ways, and then it's like, what happened? What just happened? So yes, it
Yeah,
has to change. It has to
it
change.
has to change. That's unacceptable. In the AI space, the brilliance was the launch of MCP, a standardized protocol that could be used by any platform, anywhere, anytime. It's all the same framework.
Yeah.
And that modular protocol in AI is allowing any AI platform to be able to communicate with each other, evaluate data, connectivity. You can literally speak to it. You can
Mhm.
tell me what my X, Y, and Z is, and it can generate a dynamic report. It's not a
Yeah.
drop down with filters and a save this
Right.
report as new.
Right. Yeah.
So, oh,
And then all of a sudden, that's what people get used to, and then that's what they have to have, and then the drop down and save the report goes out the door.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's going to be every time I wind up checking out technology, the things that make me nervous, I'm like, okay, right now things are moving too fast. I'm nervous about
Mhm.
long-term contracts with technology platforms.
Mhm.
Um, and I want to know what their roadmap is. Like, what's the
Mhm.
plan? What's the plan for integration? What's the plan for AI integration? You guys are
Mhm.
amazing. I'm so glad you have a roadmap and you guys are moving at lightning speed, which is awesome. A Q2 launch on something like that or a Q3 launch is fantastic. Those are
Mhm.
things that traditionally would have taken us years to be able to come out with a V2, V3 version of whatever platform we
Yep.
have. Yeah, great job.
Yeah, and that's good. That's good for everybody on the call to remember. What Jennifer's saying is, what is the roadmap? What is next? What can I expect from your company? How can I expect you to serve us in the future? I think
Yeah,
we should all be asking that.
we should be asking that.
Mhm.
I agree with that. And that connectivity question is something I think that gets missed a lot. It's one thing
Mhm.
to say, what does the application do? The other
Yep.
is how open is the application to connecting with other applications?
Yeah.
Let's
And
integrate.
people want to be a part of movements. People want to be a part of awesome things. And so
Mhm.
when you find somebody that says, "Hey, this is where we're going. This is what we're going to do next," all of a sudden, prospects and customers are going to be like, "Yay, that's so exciting." Like people want to be a part of that. So um, I think that we should all challenge each other to start asking companies, "What's next? What's your roadmap?" I'm glad you
Yeah,
said that.
yeah, I agree. All right, you have an event every year. What's the plans for this year?
Oh, I love that you asked. And so last year we had Business Uncensored. It was our 6th year, and you guys were a part of it. Thank you so much. That it hurts my heart that you asked that because I'm like, we're not having it this year. And we we canceled Business Uncensored. This is like I said, 6 years of doing an annual event. And it was really hard because it actually becomes an emotional thing. People are used to going, they're used to connecting. We've got great sponsors and partners and great speakers, and it's just a fun time. And it was so authentic and raw. Like I just loved Business Uncensored. But we decided not to do that this year. It's a big, heavily lift for our team. Putting on an event is a big lift. We decided to just focus on getting the new flat rate rolling faster and working on the product, as you can see. But then, so because of it, since we weren't able to do Business Uncensored, we actually broke off into quarterly. So every quarter we're going on location to different contractors. So in January, we were in Tulsa. We were just in Nashville last week. In June, we're going to Port Huron. And so the next one is at Vincent's Plumbing, Heating, and Air in Port Huron. In September, I think we're in Louisiana, in New Orleans. We're in Louisiana in September. But anyway, what we're doing, Jennifer, is these shop tours. And so we're going and people are coming with us. So anybody that wants to come, hit us up. And that way we can not only, visit another shop, but how are they doing their inventory? Where do they do their team trainings? Where do they put their visibility? And it's just something when you get there and you see, oh, this is how the office has their desks arranged. This is, how their phones are. You just get ideas and different things that you can begin to implement. Oh, that's right. They've got their vision statement on the wall. We should too. Like some of it, you think that but you got to get out of your normal, the day to day, and get over there and see, oh, wow, I can actually implement this in my shop. We actually want to go to visit some shops that are working out of their house too. And sometimes people are like, I don't have a building, for my service business. We still work out of our house. Well, awesome. People want to see how you do that because there's a lot of people working out of their house.
More than have offices.
Right. So why can't we do some shop visits to the houses to see, where do your guys park? Do they come here for meetings? Do you meet at coffee shops? People just want to see this and be a part of how other companies are running. And so that's the initiative we're doing right now is we're kind of just doing, you could say, a contractor tour road show every quarter.
I love that. That is where all of the best ideas come from.
Mm-hmm.
As far as you can integrate yourself into the business and start seeing all the pros, but also the gaps.
Yes, you can. And last week, somebody said of the event last week, they're like, what I love about this is everybody's talking about their problems. They're not all puffing out their chest talking about, look at me, I'm so impressive. My business is perfect. Because so often we get together at big shows and that's what it is like peacock with their feathers. Look, I'm perfect. I'm perfect. Well, nobody is.
No business is perfect.
Right. So then, yeah. So when we can take that veil down and actually be honest and authentic with each other and then say, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to try that over at my company. We're just looking for more peace and more freedom in our businesses. So
yeah,
that's what I love about it. Even so far is it's just very authentic.
I love that. Absolutely love that. That's where all the magic happens is when you just break down brass tacks. Here's the challenges. These are the problems and start solving.
Mm-hmm.
And that's technically the role of the CEO, right? That's the role of a business owner.
It is. It is.
And the bottom is really the garbage that you need to clean up. You need to fix that. True. Figure that stuff out. Fix that stuff. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. We went out to, we always call it bottlenecks. I remember from way back in the days, books from so long ago, all the bottlenecks. But we actually went out in January to Alex Hormozzi's acquisition.com out in Las Vegas and spent a couple days out there. And they talk about constraints. So they're like, the job of the CEO is to find the biggest constraint in the business and then put all resources at that constraint, bust through that constraint first. And so often as owners, we're just like, here's a constraint, here's a constraint, here's a constraint. And we try to kind of, work a little bit here and there, but that's what's holding us all back. Whereas if we just take one constraint and bust through that with all resources and then go to the next one, we've been really, it was just, to be honest, I just hadn't heard somebody talk about it like that with the word constraint. It's a constraint on the business. Bust through that one first. And taking that into contracting has been fun to talk to contractors about that and see how we can work together and bust through.
Yeah, I love that. I sit in that seat for sure. I think the other area or the other term that's really helped me is being able to clearly identify HLAs,
Mhm.
which I refer to them as high leveraged activities,
Mhm.
and knowing the difference between a high leverage activity and a low leverage activity.
Mhm.
Because the ability to be able to prioritize not just your time, but your thoughts,
Yeah.
and understand that you're applying energy, weighted energy, to those things that have the highest impact on the business uh, in the most concentrated environment like that. That's
Mhm.
critical. Critical. I love
I like
summers
that.
for us. I don't. It's
Mhm.
probably the same with you. Do
Mhm.
you get time in the summer to be able to really dive in and work on your own
Mhm.
business heavily?
Yeah, we do. It is great. And there's not travel seasons, and then, contractors are so busy, so it is a little bit quieter here during the summer. So it
Mhm.
is like a good key learning time and focusing and growing and strategizing. I love summer as
Yeah,
well.
I do too. So for a contractor, I'll kind of I'm curious what your thoughts are. You mentioned event season. What do you think is the perfect strategic move, or the best strategic move, I should say, for a contractor as it relates to events? Um, there's a lot of them.
Mhm. Mhm.
I've seen them be good. I've seen them also derail businesses, and I've
Yeah.
seen them deflate for the same reasons you said, is that they
Mm.
start judging themselves against who's on stage, and what was on stage wasn't true entirely
Yeah.
in its in, you know.
Yeah,
Right,
I'm
I
glad
wanna
that
know,
you
what are your
said
thoughts?
that. I have strong thoughts because my husband's always said, "Why do you have to go to all these shows? You went to one last year. Why are you going to another show?" And, I thought about it a lot. I'm like, "Why do I have to go to another show?" Finally, I'm like, "Well, honey, because it motivates me. It's exciting for me. I like to
Mhm,
get out of the daily grind and be motivated again and be filled up again and be excited and smile, with friends and get ideas. Like, it's motivating to go to a show. And then you go
mhm,
back and you implement some, and every once in a while you just need to go get motivated again. And you like to say that we are self-motivated. Of course we all are, right? But every once in a while it's good to do that. But to your point of which show. And so I think it's really important to look at your values and find a show that aligns with your values. And you can easily see what kind of other people are going to those shows because like attracts like. And so does that show have your values, the kind of people that are going to those shows, the attendees, the speakers, the sponsors, everybody that's there, are those your values? There's some that are partying all the time. There's some that are hiking. There's different things that are going on. What do you do? What aligns with your belief system and your structure and your business and where you are? Is it a supportive group? Is it not? And if it's just a rah, 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 sign you up for, sign your
exactly.
name on the dotted line and sign in blood and never get it back. I mean, yeah, let's be careful about that, especially when they're exhausting you and they're kind of trying to get you from you're in a position of weakness. You've been here for 4 days and all of a sudden there's this fear of loss and then you're exhausted. And what do I do? Do I sign? Do I not sign? Hang a minute, step back.
Yeah,
Like, let's not feel pressured into things. Let's make sure that we're thinking of our business. But in short, find a group that aligns with your values. You feel good about hanging around them. Who do you want to be actually following?
I would agree with that. I think that it is safe to say that, like we said, not everything you see from a stage and not everything you see on social
Mhm.
media is 100%
Mm-mm.
what it seems. I
Yep.
think, yeah. I do think that the more you can have these type of conversations that are more transparent, more raw, more real,
Mhm.
and sit down and be humble and transparent enough to be able to say, these are the challenges I'm facing. There's lots of people in this industry who have already learned that lesson,
Yeah.
and they found a solution and they were able to get through it, and they can be a really great advisor. My business coach has always said, if I could only get you to do what you already know you should, you'd consider me a genius. Like,
Isn't that the truth?
right?
It's so
And
true. And it was gosh, I don't even know how many. It was so long ago. I was at a mastermind event, and it actually wasn't in our industry. It was non-industry specific. And so it was business owners and leaders from all over the world. We met out in Santa Barbara, and it was called 212, about getting to that boiling point of water at 212 degrees. So 212, what's that 1 degree that you need to grow your business to the next step? And so, like I said, this was a long time ago. And at the time, I was sitting down having dinner. It was a big dinner. All the different business owners are there, and I was a little guy in the group. And I was sitting across from this guy who had a $100 million luxury luggage company. And so him and his wife spend, summers on different islands, and they got $100 million company, luxury luggage. I was like, okay, that's fascinating. He says, well, what about your business? I said, well, we're at $2 million. He says, oh, you lucky duck. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He says, that's my favorite size business. I'm like, really? I want to be you. He says, no. Do you know how long it takes to get anything to happen at my business? He's like, you got to have a meeting, and then a committee, and then a this, and then a this, and the ship never turns. He says, but you can walk into a room and you can turn today. He's like, it's my favorite size business. But Jennifer, my point is, that was so encouraging.
Yeah.
That when we go to these shows, instead of what's your revenue, what's this, what's that? Wow, that's great. How'd you get there? What's next? Let's encourage each other. What a great environment. Every level is great. Let's appreciate where it is and where do you want to go next, and how can I help? How can I help you take the next step?
Yeah. If I could take away all of the flashy stuff and just a group of people with their laptops in a room and a whiteboard, and we could just start plugging away one. That's the event I would like. That's why I do all these workshops, because I love being in a room with a smaller group of people and we're getting stuff done. We're able to walk out of there with the top 10 things that they wish they would have done over the last 10 years and haven't got to. And I'm like, let's get it done. 4 hours, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. I like it. I'm in a Vistage group. Have you ever been in Vistage?
I used to be in Vistage many, many, many years ago. Yeah. Very, very, very long time ago. That's
now in North Atlanta. And so we've been doing our issue processing and our whiteboarding with each other. It's been fun.
That's powerful. I feel like if I was going to do my own events, that would be it. Okay. Maybe we need to do some training.
I think you do good at that. You should.
You are absolutely wonderful. Anything else you want to leave everybody with?
Oh, thanks so much for having me today. It was fun to visit. I'm excited, like we said at the beginning, excited about the future. Definitely, please do take a look at your pricing and get ahead of the curve and go ahead and start raising them, even just by a little bit. If you're concerned with the mentality and with your team, just start moving a little at a time, get everybody on board, moving in that direction. And if we can help, let us know. We do pricing every day. So if there's anything we can do to help, reach out thenewflatrate.com, and we'd love to help.
Yeah, I would love that. There goes my husband right in the background.
I like that, because that proves that's real, right? I was like, is that a virtual or real? It's so beautiful.
Totally uncut. Yes, absolutely real. Like I said, Danielle, you're absolutely amazing. I love seeing what you're doing in the industry. And I would encourage anyone who is unsure, uncomfortable, and hasn't made the call yet to make the adjustments that you need, to reach out to Danielle and our team and get some input, get some advice, or get some motivation to do the things you already know you should.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to have to make these changes. It's critical. Don't be last.
Yeah.
Let's just get her done.
Don't miss out.
Yeah. Rip off the Band-Aid. Let's knock it out. It's going to happen again. It's not new. So thank you so much for taking time with us today. Congratulations on everything in your business. Thank you for being a leader in the industry and all that you do, and an amazing mom and wife and friend and everything that you are. You're amazing.
Some days my kids would tell you that you're the worst mom ever. So
you wouldn't be doing it right.
Thank you. Say that. Right? You're the worst. Okay.
We'll have this conversation at 20 and let me know what you think. Oh my goodness. So you guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules I know it's not easy to get out of your business and work on it instead of in it. You are doing that today. Take a moment to share, like, and comment. You can watch the podcast and other episodes on Spotify, YouTube, and a whole bunch of other ones. You can find the website online at thecatalyst4thetrades.com. Again, Danielle, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thanks, everyone, for
Thanks,
joining.
Jennifer. See you later.